Today we got for you Nugget Nectar from Troegs Brewing Company in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Now, as you can tell from the glass, from my shirt, and from the beer, I'm a big fan of Troegs. I got a number of their bottles behind me, more of their limited release things, barrel aged and special Belgian versions, sour versions of their Mad Elf. But this is a beer that you can get every single year, mid to end of January. It's called the Nugget Nectar. Why is it called the Nugget Nectar? It features nugget hops that provides a nice piney finish. Palisade hops, Tomahawk hops, and Warrior hops are some of your more unconventional or uncommon hops. But Simcoe provides a nice mango-y kind of creamsicle flavor that balances very well with the pine. But clearly, Nugget is the star of the show. This beer uses ale yeast. There's two types of yeasts, lager and ale. Beers are broken down into those two categories. That's it. Lager and then ale. This is an ale. This is what Troegs calls an imperial amber ale. I really like that they don't refer to it as an IPA, even though it is generously hopped. What they do with this beer to give it a really nice crisp yet bitter finish, not overly bitter, but bitter finish, is they dry hop it. That seems to be the rage nowadays with a lot of these beers, but Troegs has been doing it forever, and they do it very well. Dry hopping is the process of adding hops towards the end of a brew, usually in secondary. Troegs uses what they call a hop back, and that's when they add a little more nugget hops to provide that extra piney finish. This is a really, really nice winter beer. If you're not in the mood for an IPA, but you still want something with a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of sweetness, this is a really great beer. The reason why I love this beer, for a couple reasons. One, 7.5 ABV. For me, that means I can kick back 2 or 3 of these things, and I'm having a good time. Regular night with friends. I'm not drinking 3 of these by myself. Second is that I can always find this. This is a beer that they produce in very large quantities with a national distribution, to my knowledge, national distribution, which means that you can find almost anywhere you go an absolutely first-class beer. This is what I call one of my desert island beers. Not that you really want to be drinking beer on a desert island, but if I could pick 5 to 10 beers to have for the rest of my life, this would easily make the list. Even if it was only 5 beers the rest of my life, this would be on the list. An absolutely beautiful, beautiful color and a very complex yet balanced flavor profile. You're going to get a lot of juice on the front, pine on the finish, and it's not overly bitter, but very crisp. This is a beer that you can kick back kind of quick, I'm not going to lie. And at 7.5%, I wouldn't recommend you really fling them back. But I really like this. They brew it once a year, and it's distributed, again, in January. You can probably find it going on into February, mid-February, maybe even late February. But this is the sooner you drink it, the better. Because it's that good. You really don't want to waste it. You really don't want to let it sit. It's very good fresh. Now, as you can see here, my man is squeezing the hop. The reason why is because this is what they call their first squeeze beer. At the beginning of the year, Troegs gets in a new Humulus lupulus hop, shipment or harvest, and these are the hops they use for this beer. It's their real first kickoff to the new year, and 2018 couldn't be brought in with a better way with this beer. Amid all of the crazy bourbon barrel aged or rye barrel or even some other different type of barrel aged stouts, porters, crazy sours, this is your go-to. You know, I have some crazy Mad Elfs behind me, some bourbon barrel aged beer over there, wood aged actually, from Dogfish Head. I have a whole bunch of bourbon barrel aged stouts and porters in my cabinet, my beer cellar. But those aren't beers that you can just crack casually. Those are beers you have to sit, really take your time, and slowly drink and relax with. This being Super Bowl Sunday, I want something that I can drink 2 or 3 of with friends as we're watching the game, chatting, and not have to think too much about to really process. This is that beer. This is a quintessential, big fancy word, Super Bowl beer. It's going to be a good conversational piece if you're at a party where there's not a lot of beer drinkers, or you have some new beer drinkers and you want to talk about craft beer, but it's not going to blow anyone away to the point where they're saying, get that away from me. This is a beer that I've never met anyone that does not like this beer. It has something for everyone, and it's readily available. Highly recommend that you run out to your store if you still have time before Super Bowl Sunday, or at some other point during the week, or even the weeks to come if you can still find it, and grab yourself a 6-pack. They have it in cans and bottles. As always, I prefer cans because it keeps light away much better. But the bottles are really pretty. I have a bottle in my fridge, or rather in my kitchen, that I display. I really like it. The can art is fantastic. One thing that Troegs nails almost every time is their can art. They do a really great job, and they had some recent, relatively recent rebranding with this new logo, and it's great. I absolutely love what the Troegs brothers are doing and what they continue to do. And Troegs I have a soft spot in my heart for Troegs. I lived near the brewery for about a year. It's close to where my wife and I spent most of our time as we were dating and engaged. And so I love Troegs. I've been to the brewery a bunch of times. If you have a chance, I highly recommend you visit, and you will not go wrong to pick up this beer. So, that being said, cheers.